So happy to be joined by our good friend Christine Long from CTV Montreal. She's on the line. Christine, how you doing?
I am getting pummeled.
You're getting pummeled. Okay, so let me fill our listeners in here, because one of the reasons we reached out to you this morning is that I loaded up my Facebook and your post pops up, and here's what you wrote. Oops. I struck a chord with my CTV News report on provincial rules for pool fencing. So many reactions, so many emails. The rules are complicated and can be applied differently. One thing for certain, the deadline is September 30th, and pool owners are worried. Tell me about the worry here, Christine. Tell me about your story and the ensuing response.
Well, two neighbors in Pierrefonds, Tom Denunzio and Mazdak Ardalan, have the fence. It's a non-rigid PVC mesh synthetic fence that's sold by Enfants Secure. And it's the pictures of it are in the provincial pool fencing rule book. There's that picture. That's my fence. But municipalities can decide to go above and beyond the provincial rule book. And Pierrefonds is one of the municipalities that says, no, a non-rigid fence is not accepted. So around Mazdak, there's, Kirkland, DDO, Pointe Claire. You can have that fence in those areas, but he's being told to take down his fence or it's a $500 a day fine after September 30th. So it's complicated because he's got 3 kids and he feels it's secure, but he's being told it's not. And the province says it's secure, but the municipality says no. So he's, that was a $2,000 investment. Take it down. And he's got to do a rigid fence, could be $6,000 to $8,000.
So, the devil's always in the details, right? So non-rigid mesh fence. Now, I'm watching your report, and I know it's called non-rigid. And I know it's not glass, it's not a metal fence, it's not wood, okay? But it certainly seems pretty darn rigid. Like, the only way you're getting past that fence is if you go above and beyond to try and get past this fence, right? So
or if you have a machete.
Yeah, that's right. So do you get a sense that?
I spoke to Mathieu Lalonde, who's been installing these fences for 35 years, and he stands by his product. It's been tested. It's secure. And it's interesting you talk about the details, because what the rule book says is you can put a rigid fence, like a chain link fence, but it can't be climbable. So you have to put the privacy strips in. So that makes it impossible to see through. So you have a rigid fence, but you can't see who's in the pool.
Oh, boy.
That doesn't seem safe. Or a wooden fence, which you can't see through and you can't see who's in the pool. And there's so many details. I just got another email about my report barely scratched the surface, which is correct, because there's so many details and complications. You've got to look at the rule book yourself. You've got to speak to your own city's inspector. And you got to do it quickly because September 30th is coming. And I just got a note from a CFCF retiree, Marianne Giba, who said, I saw this coming. I had the inspection. I put up the fence. I passed with flying colors. Uh-huh. What's so difficult? Well, That's the only person who said that to me.
But what's also interesting here is what you just brought up. The argument can be made, those non-rigid mesh fences, because they allow you to see through it. Perhaps they're safer, right, than some of the other solutions here.
And I leaned on it. I pulled on it. You cannot undo it. And a 4-year-old certainly can't undo it. It takes 2 hands to unlock and unlatch. So I believe the parents and the grandparents are doing the right thing when they have a good fence and they're being told, okay, you have to do more. And that's the bylaw. They have to do more in certain areas. Like Pierrefonds, I understand there's maybe 1 or 2 other places in Quebec, but Mathieu Lalonde says 98% of Quebec accepts his fence, his product as a secure pool fence.
I think the best indication of what's going on here is looking at the top comments on your Facebook post, right? So the top comment that I'm getting, and I know it's an algorithm that decides, but it's this one. This is the first one. Typical Quebec laws, complicated and useless. And then the second comment is, every year some kid drowns, so definitely not useless. Yeah, it can be a pain, but it might save lives. I guess.
And your neighbors' kids too, who are not used to the latches and stuff. You want to make sure that it's kid-proof for your kids and others.
Any follow-up from Pierrefonds about how maybe their rules might be too strict?
I got a snippy email that I didn't read through. Okay. Mayor Jim Bass is on vacation, and he's certainly allowed to do that. Somebody else responded to my question with basically he sent me the rule book. And again, the rule book is long and complicated. You have to have lower windows, have to have bars, or you have to gate in your patio. Elias, as you know, as a parent, you want to keep everybody safe. So there's different machinations for different yards. You have to find out what fits yours and what your local inspector approves of.
And, it's just like, okay, you live in one city and a $2,000 fence is approved. And then the city over, well, no, you got to spend $10,000 in order to be approved. I mean, at a certain point, it does come down to cost. And I can understand how a parent who certainly cares about their children would say, wait a minute, this is insane. I've already installed the $2,000-$3,000 fence.
And I'm getting people who are saying, can you give me that guy's number? Because I want to buy his fence when he has to take it out.
Geez, that's how it goes, eh? Christine, listen, thanks for hopping on here. I have it on good authority. You're eating ice cream today?
Well, I plan on it. I'm in Prévost. I was driving, so I haven't looked at the comments, Elias. I'm a bit trepidatious about that. But here in Prévost, there's a 17-year-old who started her own business. It's an ice cream shop. It's pretty neat and really interesting flavors like caramel corn and pistachio. So I'm going to speak to Simone Grelot about her business. She's just out of high school. She's studying science in CEGEP soon, and she's got employees. Well, I don't know what you were doing at 17, and I'm thinking it was pretty impressive. But were you a business owner?
I was not a business owner at 17. I can tell you that much. Christine, listen, enjoy the work today, and thanks for the piece on the pools, getting a lot of reaction.
Thank you, Elias.
All right, that's Christine Long from CTV Montreal.